All right, what's up, everyone? We are back. Oh, that's way too bright. With a Nerc update, we're going to be touching on a few things here regarding the Nerc hockey leagues. First and foremost, um, Eagles with the big Super Bowl win, USA with a tough Four Nations loss. So, some good with some bad in there. Was really hoping USA was going to pull it out last night. Games were a little bit weird last night as well, due to the fact that people went to watch the games. So one forfeit. I had a couple teams just super light. We had a platinum play-in game that was a 4-on-5, so we'll talk about that. Nevertheless, we have a little bit of agenda, so share that on the screen now. So our agenda tonight, going to be doing a quick look at the 2025 season, just important dates, how to register, things like that. We're going to be looking at probably the thing that's most top of mind in our leagues right now, which is the Weeknight Hockey League playoff preview. And then we're going to be taking a look at the Sunday Hockey League playoff push. Sunday Hockey League a little bit behind just due to the fact that we had some Eagles Sundays that we had to cancel. We also had a snow date in there as well. So 2 weeks behind on the Sunday, which is going to kind of create a little bit of a little bit of an interest experience with the next league. So we're jumping into that right now. So if you go under two places, you can find it. You can either go to adult hockey info, or if you just go to registration, we'll just head over to the registration, make it easy. All the information for the next league is up here. You can see the important start dates, 3/10. So we're starting pretty much right back up for the Weeknight Hockey League. Teams that start getting eliminated this week, obviously, are going to have a week break. Those teams that have the buys and whatnot are going to not have a break, which is kind of crappy in a way. But the problem is we run right into Labor Day, just due to how the dates kind of fell this season. And even on that Labor Day, we're going to take off that Monday, which the buy dates will be put in there, obviously, but we're going to take off that Monday and then finish out the rest of the week for the rest of the divisions. And it might even have to carry over into the following week. So if there's any kind of flexibility, I will, let all the captains know. But registration is filling up. I think we had like 10 teams register already, and I didn't even send out the text yet. So that's usually a pretty good sign that this is going to be a healthy season for the weeknight. Sundays, this is our most full season usually on Sundays, is the spring season. Now, right now, we have 20 teams on Sunday. I can really only take two more teams, and those two teams would have to be in the same division as well. So Sundays, I expect to be packed just because I had some teams that are going to reach out that they're going to be signing back up for Sundays. Sunday springs are awesome because once you get past March and you get into the April timeframe, you have that whole Sunday where it starts to get a little warmer outside, weather breaks, you get sunlight a little later. That's the best season, in my opinion, for Sundays. The parking lot is usually elite. Teams that really take advantage of it, the Inebriators, Brickhouse Tigers, the Hounds, the Generates, a bunch of teams really take advantage of that Sunday hockey vibe, the Gabagools. Hopefully we can get Coach back and get the Gabagools back into more of the Sunday hockey vibe. But a bunch of teams take advantage of that Sunday hockey. The Hippo is always up there as well. So really excited for that Sunday league because I know a couple teams coming back are good teams as well. So it's going to make it pretty competitive. So top of mind right now, we have our weeknight playoffs starting this week. Now, technically, they started last week. We had a gold playing game, which showcased Bernsey Electric and the Renegades. These two teams seem to always battle with each other. Bernsey got the better of them this time around. Really good game. If you want to watch it, you can go watch that on our YouTube. I did play-by-play pretty much the entire game with a few interruptions. And then the interesting one was on Thursday, the Platinum playing game had the Whips play my team Fusion. We had 5 guys. They had 4 guys. And I allowed a fill in because they really only had 3 guys. So they literally were missing, of their 8 players, 5 of them couldn't make it. So it was like, it's just crazy. That team is a goddamn disaster. I don't think they've ever had more than, I'd say, 6 guys at a game. And when they have all their guys, they're really good. Now, USA game probably had a little bit to do with that. But 3 other guys showed up. One of the guys brought his brother, and then they whipped their ass. So I don't want to talk about it. So I did put up the weeknight block schedule so everyone can kind of see this is how I generally do it. I usually make a news article and put up the block schedule in a spreadsheet format. There's two reasons for that. One, I like color coding it so you can kind of just find your color. So if you're platinum, you're in purple. If you're in bronze A, you're in orange, right? So you can kind of just find your spots and know that, okay, these are where my division's playing. We don't know where we're going to fall in the seeding yet. And this last week actually had a ton of teams moving around in that seeding. And that's why I don't post anything online. Now, I can post it, like you'll see, for the second week of playoffs as I scroll down here. The problem I have is a lot of guys get confused when you look at this on your phone because they'll see this bronze semifinal and think that's for their game there. Now, in this case, these are the same game, but you can see some people might think that this bronze A championship is actually there. I don't know why you get it confused. There's a line there that separates every single game. I guess on a phone, it can look a little goofy, but nevertheless, we have everything now posted on the website as well. So all the block scheduling is up there. As much as I don't like making changes, there are cases where I have to make changes, and one of them had to take place this time in our silver division. The Deuces actually opted to want to play the 10-20 game on Thursday. They are the higher seed, so they kind of get that flexibility regarding that, just because they have a bunch of guys playing in a Wednesday league that has a championship. So I will make adjustments. I don't like to make adjustments, but I will. So let's take a look at the standings. That's going to give us our matchups here, and then we'll kind of look at the schedule accordingly. So we talked about the Platinum Division. This game is in the books now. The little beta whips are moving forward. They're going to be playing the Kraken. Kraken with an unbelievable regular season, right there with Advocate as well. And it basically came down to their goal differential, where they had some games where they, just scoring goals and putting a pumping on teams. So you can see the goals against not too far off here. They just, and the goals for really close as well. And really just the goals against that separated them. So not huge difference right there. And that's why they wound up taking that first seed. The head-to-head was a split. So Kraken's going to be facing off against Beta Whips. Now, Beta Whips, as I mentioned, their team, when their guys show up, they're deadly. They won the gold division last year, which is now platinum. So watch out for them. They're a team that and these are best of threes, by the way, in the platinum and gold division. They do a shorter season with best of three playoffs. These are two teams that really are going to make some noise, and I'm interested to see and kind of how this series is going to go. How we have it set up is for platinum, you're going to play Thursday next week, Monday, and then there's a game 3. It could either be that Monday night, I have a slot, that Tuesday night, or that Wednesday night will be a slot. I'm assuming that of the 4 semifinal games between gold and platinum, not all 4 are going to go best of 3. I'm assuming there's going to be sweeps in there, and we won't need some of those 10-20s, but just how it kind of falls, you have to use 10-20s because you can't schedule a game in the middle of the night that is undetermined. So those game 3s are going to have to be 10-20. So it's going to be interesting to see if they get to a game 3, how many people get their team to show up to those 10-20 games, because nobody likes them. I don't mind them, but they're late. I get it. It's just there's too many teams. There's not enough time slots. We have one sheet. It just is what it is. In our other semifinal matchup for platinum, we have Advocate Athlete going to be taking on the Dirty Dog, another really good series. Dirty Dogs are an interesting team. When they're on, they're really good defensively, really tough to beat. Can kind of be a pain in the ass to play against, to be honest with you. They score a lot of goals. They've been giving up a little more than I think they're used to. You can see they're at a dead even differential, which is crazy with that 57 and 57. But 57 is, kind of a lot for a team that plays pretty defensive like them. So going to be a battle there. And best of threes, you never know what's going to happen. There's bad blood that can happen. There's games that go into overtime that carry momentum. And with the platinum playoffs starting on a Thursday and having a second game right away on a Monday, it's kind of like one of those like NHL home and homes, right? Where you don't have a lot of days off in between those games. So those are going to be battles. YouTube is definitely going to be fired up for those games. And since I'm not in the platinum division, I'm going to be up there mostly for those games. It's going to be awesome to be able to do some play-by-play with those games as well. And just with that being said, all the championship games will have play-by-play. So I'll be up in the booth. Maybe I could get someone with me as well. Ideally, I would love to get like a center ice shot instead of the static view that we have now in the corner of the rink. I'd like to get a center ice shot. So move, kind of the laptop with the webcam, have a tripod, and kind of shoot the game from a broadcast view have someone just kind of operate the camera for me, be a color commentator as well. And we will have play-by-play for every single championship game. So something cool and new that we're going to be doing this year, this season. So takes care of our platinum division, our top division at Nerc, and our gold division. Man, this is another one where just looking at the standings even, I mean, the Renegades that were in 7th place had wins against teams like DHC and Bernsey. So like they're a team that even though they only had 7 points, one win away, they're almost catching up to Bernsey. 2 wins away, they're catching up to the Hawks, right? So they're still a really good team. The Bells got to show up in that playoff game. I think that's a difference maker if those guys show up. And Bernsey, give them the credit, came out and they were missing guys too, like Tiernan and Phil Reynolds. So give them credit. They were both missing guys. Bernsey was the one that came out on top this time. I will say in that game, both Diesel and Dylan Devlin played sick. Dylan had like 3 crazy saves in the beginning and still gave up 3 goals, but still 3 crazy saves. Like Devo said the other night when he filled in for my team, like he gave up some goals, but he felt like he had some crazy saves as well in our game. So that was kind of the same story there. So they're going to be playing DHC in a best of 3. That's going to be an awesome series. Like this gold division is so close to this platinum division. It's just a lot of guys cross over. So that's why we separate it. It is so close, and that's going to be a 6 series. I cannot wait for that one. We'll get into the schedule in a little bit. D5 is going to be playing my team, the Hawks. We kind of go back and forth. Like we've had tons of games against D5 where we're up on them pretty heavily. And then next thing you know, we are giving up goals in that 3rd period. Lenny, shout out to Lenny, he's kind of backstopped us. We had Justin Brennan took a new job in the beginning of the season, so we haven't had him. We've kind of had this platoon of goalies for the past 2 seasons. Lenny stepped up, and he is our guy now. So it's going to be sick 6 series there as well because, like I said, we do trade off. Our differential is brutal just because beginning of the year we were just awful. We seem to pick things up. Again, we're a team that no one shows up. We're horrible. And when people show up, we're really good. Same thing with D5. D5, deep team. They have a lot of guys that just know the game. They play a simple game. They play a puck possession game. Guys like Keith Goodman, Joe Brenning, Tom Gagliano, they all control the puck from the back end and get it in the forwards' hands. So going to be a really good series there in our gold division. Now, this is probably, we always say this every season. This is a division that I could see pretty much everyone taking a run and taking a stab at it because we look at it last season. This was our old Bronze A where the Stickheads beat the Deuces, and the Stickheads were an 8th seed that beat the Deuces. But this division and probably the next 3 divisions, this Bronze A, Bronze B, and this is anybody's game up here. And we'll really see it in the Bronze B division once we get there. But so this is where we kind of start our 6-team playoffs, where you're going to have your top 2 seeds get a bye. So that regular season becomes a little more important to get that bye into the semifinal round. In first place, the Deuces, they smoked the Stickheads on Thursday night. Again, weird night in general, just at the rink because of the USA game. Kind of, we had the game on. There was a good little vibe, but, guys wanted to get home and watch it, obviously. So those 2 teams that got the first 2 seeds. And the Deuces, I mean, everyone talks about they need to move up in the gold division. I actually kind of agree this season. They have some older guys that, maybe wouldn't want to hang in that gold division. But they haven't won this division. They didn't win it last year. 2 seasons ago, I believe it was the Wet Seals. They may have won 2 seasons ago, but the year before that, it was Wet Seals. So it's not like they're winning every year. There's always going to be really good teams. I hate when guys say this, like, oh, they're too good. There's always going to be good teams in the division. There's always going to be a first place. There's always going to be 6th place, 7th, whatever it is. Like, it's the nature of the beast. But that leaves us with our matchups. We had the Mad Alphers taking on the Vanture Avalanche, which Mad Alphers actually forfeited the game against Vanture. It didn't matter for either team. So they forfeited on Thursday. But they're going to be playing the Vanture Avalanche in a 3-6 matchup. Vanture Avalanche, if they have all their guys, they can win that game. I think that the goaltending is going to be the difference in that one. Both goalies are really hot and cold. Nick Irwin's been playing sick. He won one of our platinum games for us. So, shout out to Nick. He's just putting the work in. He wants to fill in whenever he can. So Nick and Alex both have to kind of battle it out in that one. Mad Alfreds are high fly scoring, and the Vanture Avalanche team's more of a slow and steady wins the race kind of team. And then we have a battle in this 4-5 matchup between the Kings and the Wet Seals. You can see only separated by 1 point here. They played each other last week. Apparently, there was some rough stuff that happened in the game. So that silver semifinals are all set there. All going to be battles. And Ben and myself, and I'm actually going to throw Devo into this one as well because he's been helping us with a lot of stuff too. All going to make our playoff predictions, and we'll see how we do. This time I'm going to go with the gut. I always say I'm not going to let the personal kind of relationships get into my decisions, but I think we're going to try to go with the gut as much as I can on that one. And from what I've seen from these teams, our Bronze A division, as we move down here, we have threat level midnight. So under new captaincy with Anthony Hearn, has kind of changed the outlook of this team. They got guys like Pat Snurmel back, awesome. They've brought some guys in as well, including Hearn's brother. So like they're kind of revamping that team. Dylan Devlin, that's always going to give you a good chance. They stole the first seed. In the second seed, you had the Hive. Again, Pat Foy Jr. is a big goal scorer on that team. His dad, be playing with his dad, he can get sometimes frustrated, but when Pat's on his game, he's a tough player to stop. Colin Burgess, another scorer on the team you got to watch out for. So they sold the first 2 seeds. So our matchups are going to be the Turtle Power, and there's the 3rd seed playing Carmen's Place. Interesting matchup here because Carmen's Place was in that what is now the Silver Division last season, and they took the Kings to, I think, like either overtime or like final minutes of the game. So they're in last place in this division, and with a minus 18, I really don't see, like, they've given up the most goals in the division, but their goals for isn't that bad. So if they can keep the pucks out of the net, that's going to be a really good game. That's kind of a toss up for me, considering the fact it's a 3-6 game. That's a toss up for me. And then we have the 4-5 seed. Shane Fisher has been out a few weeks, just battling an injury. So it's going to be interesting to see if I assume he's waiting to make his comeback here for the playoffs, and he is the captain of that team. They're going to be playing the Fellas now. The Wet Sox are actually in the minus side of the goal differential, playing the Wet Sox who are +1. So this is, again, another toss-up pick-em kind of game here. Maybe I'll even have like Steve Mead, Zach O'Hara, some of my gambling buddies, make some odds for these just for interesting. And Ben Brullier, actually, this is right up your alley, Ben. You make some odds for these because this is right up your alley. You work for a betting company. So that's our Bronze A division. Anybody can win this division because, like I said, this Carmen's Place, that's my sleeper pick because if they have their full squad, and that's kind of the kind of story of men's league in general, if you have the full squad, but they could win this division. They were in the division above it last year. So I could totally see them coming in and winning this division. In our Bronze B division, this is, I think, just the coolest thing. Look at these records. I mean, you have a bunch of teams just sitting under 500 here, making up this bottom half. And then you have teams really just a game and 2 games above 500. So this division, I made it up kind of as a mix of some of the Copper A teams being Bacon. Rocco's was really a Copper A team last year, Broforce and John. So let's just say Broforce, John, and Bacon. And then new team, the Scorchers coming in. Nighthawks who moved down from the division above. And Rocco's Minor Snipes who had a rough time in that Bronze B division last year. So going to be an awesome battle here. So John and Broforce steal the 1 and 2 seeds so they get that bye, which leaves the Scorchers playing against Bacon, which was an interesting game because the Scorchers beat Bacon without a goalie. And I know there's some bad blood from the Bacon side of things they're really going to want to win this one and like kind of show their worth because they are a team at that time that they could have jumped the Scorchers. So you could see one more win, they'd be above the Scorchers. So if they beat them in that game, they'd be sitting as a 3 seed playing a Rocco's team. So that's going to be a really unique game there because I feel like Bacon is going to show up totally different than they did. I think, when you're playing a team without a goal, you can kind of take your foot off the pedal a little bit and maybe not give your best effort. And then if you start losing, then you start getting frustrated and then kind of just snowball effects from there. And then we have the Nighthawks taking on Rocco's. This is going to be an interesting one as well because, like I said, Rocco's had a tough time in the division above. Nighthawks had a tough time in the division above. So both these teams kind of relegated down into this new Bronze B division. So I'm really interested. I haven't seen a ton of these games. I saw Rocco's and Nighthawks a bunch early in the season. Haven't seen them as much lately. Got to catch Nighthawks last week a little bit, but it's going to be an absolute battle. Another pick'em game there. And this division, as you can see, like everyone with like over in double digits in points. John with the most, obviously, but this is a really cool thing to see for me, like putting these divisions together. Because you take what people register as, and then you have to kind of look at who they're going to have, who they're going to roster, and kind of see who they have already rostered. Right? They may have a stud that says like, listen, you can't play in Copper A because you have a really good player in here, and a lot of these teams want to play the best competition all the time, so it's usually not a problem. But there are mistakes that do get made, and some teams get waxed a little bit, and we'll kind of talk about that in this Copper division here. So we have our Copper A's and Copper B's. Now, in a perfect world, I would love to kind of have this Copper A really just be these top four teams, and I would love to move Hellfish and 43 Oak down. Unfortunately, like a 14 division A kind of sucks. Because you're just playing the same teams 3 times in a season. It kind of just gets redundant. And I really like that in Copper, I could use a relegation system because just like Bronze A and Bronze B, I kind of do it a little bit here as well. I think these are a little more set than the Coppers. Coppers, this was the first time we did it. Bronze A and B, I've kind of always done it like that. Copper A and B is the first time we did it. So kind of just talk through it here. So we have Advocate Copper, run by Devo. They're in first place, so great season from them. Only 1 OT loss on the season. They're sitting at the top of the standings there, followed up by the Wolf Pups, who are just always in contention for a championship. They just can't seem to get over that hump. Maybe this is the year. Some good karma there, too, with the fact that TJ, their goaltender, actually made our shirts this year. So we'll preview those at the very end so you can see what the championship sweatshirts look like. And their crew neck sweatshirts, super high quality. Like, I can't say enough about them. I tried on the large, which isn't my size. I'm getting bigger. I'm an XL guy now, but the large was like super comfy, super, like the quality was just unreal. It's not just like a heavyweight cotton, kind of like these are. They're just heavyweights and they shrink up in the dryer. And I tell people all the time, like, don't dry these, like air dry them or dry them on low so they don't shrink. They are cotton, but these are really nice quality. So TJ did a bang up job on those. Ethan from Fusion, who does a lot of our jerseys in the league, did a sick job with the design. So he's kind of the guy who used to design a lot of things. He designed the 10 shirts from last season that everyone seems to love. So it's get back to kind of the Copper A division, but just a little going down a road there of the championship shirts, and we'll see what they look like. So we have the Dragons taking on the Flying Hellfish. I'm going to be straight up. I want the Hellfish to win this game. I do, not just because I want the upset. John from the Dragons kind of ticked me off a little bit, and I gave him some shit for it. We'll be fine. He makes some pretty good putting shots. I'll be fine, but I got to give him a little bit of shame there. So Hellfish are going to be playing them in the 3-6 matchup. And then we have No Names playing 43 Oak. Now, 43 Oak is one of those teams where I think they kind of want to be in that Copper B division. They have young players. They picked up a guy due to injury a little bit through the season, a really young player in Ryan Patnall, who's a stud. So he kind of filled in place of Jameer this season. And I think they have a really good chance at winning this game with having him, now in the mix with things. They played each other at the beginning of the season, only lost by 2 goals, and then their names kind of beat up on them after that. In the second game, they played them. But I think 43 Oak, they did it last year where once they get in the playoffs, they play a little bit different, a little less selfish. And I think that 43 Oak has a chance to beat No Names in this one. And that's going to be kind of my upset that I'm calling, and I'll put my predictions. And finally, in our Copper B division, I love this division too, just because when we look at it, the Healthy Scratches, Cafe Carmela, free agents, all kind of newer teams mixed in with the 2 Utes, Turbulence and Bad News Bears. Like Bad News Bears and Turbulence, 2 OG teams. Devo's kind of had 2 Utes in and out for seasons at a time, but has been consistent with them for the past couple of years. Be interested to see if he moves the Utes back to Sundays, or since football is over, or if he's going to keep them during the week. I think he may move them back to Sundays just because this way he can have a Sunday team that he's playing on. Now, he's been filling in with the Little Beauties a little bit, but that's a sick little rivalry between the Beauties and the Utes. So we'll see what happens. But in first place, we had the Bad News Bears with a big win at the end of the season, which jumped them to the first seed. So shout out to the Bad News Bears, Ryan Barnett captaining that team, keeping them at the top of the standings here. They're a team that I was going to probably put up in this Copper A division. They wanted to kind of stay where they were for now. So 43 Oak, reason they got moved up is because they won that Copper B division last season. And then Flying Hellfish were in the top 4 of the Copper or Copper A last year. So they were the team that really didn't get moved down. I wound up moving the Bad News Bears down because they're in 5th place. Sitting in 2nd place, I love to see this too. 2 older teams, turbulence at the top of the standings. Their seasons have changed since they put Meg Gremlich in net. Dave Blatstein's a good pickup for them too as a workhorse. And Phil Kaiser. So they kind of got like a bunch of guys from the Pylons, Joe Melendez. They have a really good team, honestly. So they're a team that probably could benefit from this week off. And really take advantage of it. So we'll see how they wind up panning out depending on who they play. The rest of the matchups are going to be healthy scratches and the free agents. So free agents and healthy scratches did split their season. Free agents are what exactly they are, a free agent team. So they knew it was going to be rough sledding in the beginning. They're getting better. I already know that they're looking at picking up a few players for next season, which is going to be awesome for them because they want to stick together and they want to get better. So it's awesome to see new blood in the league. And I'm hoping that I'm kind of hoping that, that they stick together, that they get better and eventually can move up, kind of just like 43 Oak did. And then we have the 2 Utes playing Cafe Carmela. I'm in the free agents and Cafe Carmela's group chats, and they're both fired up about this playoff push here. So, the standings here, you have 2 teams that are pretty top, really 3 teams that are pretty top heavy, and then kind of makes up the rest of it. The Utes right in the middle of the pack, even with 15 points. So Cafe Carmel is right behind them, and the free agents, they had an overtime loss and then their last win of the last game of the season. So, again, new teams here, but pretty balanced division nonetheless with this. So real quickly, we'll just look at the schedule here. Regarding the schedule, guys, there's nothing I could do. Like there's 10, 20 games that are going to happen in these things, but you kind of see what the look here is. So you got your gold and silver going to be kicking it off on Monday. Going to be some really good games there. Then we got our whole copper division, and I love doing this with the schedule. And the reason I do it this way is to try to get people to hang around the rink. I think, this season in general, I know like in the higher divisions, it's a little bit tough with attendance, but it happens. There's kids playing sports and things like that do play into that factor. But I love being able to put gold games, silver games, whatever division it is, back to back. So this way, like you're done your gold game, you're like, okay, I'm going to watch the second game and see who wins, especially in these golden plats because they're best of 3s. So we have our semifinal matchup here already set. And our back half of the night, we got our silvers. Then we have copper all on Tuesday. Going to be awesome. Hope people stay around and kind of watch those games. That division, that Tuesday night's usually pretty electric up there as well. Our Wednesday is going to showcase kind of a mishmash. This was supposed to be a silver game in here, but kind of cool that we're going to have a couple bronze B games in here, bronze A, and then a silver. That's going to really just play from these games here. And then our Thursday night, we're going to have our platinum and gold meet again. For gold and platinum kind of kick off their playoffs. That is going to be a little beta whips kind of added in there. Everything's kind of loading up as far as the schedule goes. And then the deuce is just awaiting who they're going to be playing for this silver. And then you can see I loaded up the rest of the kind of playoffs there. So kind of just, the best way to do it is if you go to your division, you pick your team, right? And then it'll show you everything and even the games that you're not scheduled for. So you can see your entire schedule based off of that. You could literally copy and paste this link, send it to your group chat and say, hey guys, here's kind of the playoff outlook. All right. The last thing we're going to touch on is going to be the Sundays. So in Sundays, we did the in-season cup. In-season cup's really cool. Probably going to extend that to all the divisions next year. I think it actually works better with bigger divisions where at first I thought it was going to be better in a smaller division, but the problem with the smaller divisions, you only see each other every 2 weeks, basically, or every 3 weeks. So that if the cup stays with one team, it doesn't change hands a lot. So it's a little different where in a bigger division like this, if the Gabagools, for instance, had it, they play Brickhouse, they beat them, and then they play the Pylons the next week. Okay, Pylons may play Brickhouse again. in a few weeks, so they can recapture that in-season cup. Liberty, we wound up taking the in-season cup. Stickheads beat us in our last game. They now have it, but they only have one more game to get it. We have had it for 4 games, so we are going to win that little $200 cash prize for the in-season cup. So that has one more week here because they're going to be doing a best of 3 as well. So as it stands right now, Stickheads can jump the Hounds, and Degenerates looks like they're going to be winding up playing us anyway, and we're playing them this week. So it's going to be really not even – it's going to be like it was the best of 5 with them. So Degenerates attendance was a little bit of struggle bus once the Eagles kind of got closer and closer to playoffs. So obviously they're going to stack back up here, and we'll see what it's kind of like this weekend. In our bronze early division. Now, these divisions, bronze early and bronze late, if I can get them both on screen, I kind of can. We know it's bronze early at the top. These divisions do split into an A and a B. So right now, a lot of things can change over 2 weeks. Brickhouse can jump up spots. Pylons with 6 points could jump up spots. Obviously need some help here with a couple losses. Wolfpack kind of more so battling it out with these bottom teams here. You can see that all these teams could jump up into this top bracket. So this is kind of just a hodgepodge from 3 to 7. Anybody can really jump anywhere. And even, technically these guys could jump, the Inebriators. So if they got 2 wins, let's just say over their next 2 games, it's going to give them 7 points. And if the Honeybees lose a couple, now the Honeybees are sitting in a totally different position. So that's going to be really competitive. Our Sundays, it's kind of tough to say just because, with the Eagles, there was some attendance issues, right? Some teams didn't care about the Eagles. They're like, we'll play during the games. Some teams really were like anti-playing. So see how it goes with how it goes the last 2 weeks of the season, considering the fact you're probably going to get some better attendance here. And then in our bronze late division, kind of same thing. This whole middle pack really weeks like it's going to be a good playoff push here. Don't want to go too long with this, but I did want to show one more thing, which is going to be the championship shirts for this show. This on our Instagram page. Got chirped here by Kyle Doherty, but went with kind of an Eagles theme and took a gamble on it, saying, hey, Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl, and they did. So I stuck with the green theme. They look even better in person. This is kind of just like a mock-up of what they look like, but they are crew neck sweatshirts. So really cool stuff. Like I said, designed by Fusion. Got the nice little like college look here, courtesy Sean Cohen said, kind of keep this wreath here. And then I really looked at an Eagles shirt that some guy had at like an emo concert. And I was like, yeah, that shirt's sick. Let me take a picture. Kind of made the design based off of that. Came up with the idea, I should say, for the design based off of that. Fusion knocked it out of the park with kind of cleaning it up and making it right for me. And I did change, as you've seen, the logo here for the Eagles, considering the fact I wanted to get some of that green in there. And that's pretty much it. So all these games going to be live streamed here. Obviously, this is the camera view for everything besides the championship games. Championship games, I'm going to do my best to be there, and I should be able to be there for all those games. Just maybe if I'm playing in one, I won't be able to do, but do a full live stream and play-by-play broadcast for all those games. I don't know if I'll be able to get into like the previews and things like that, because all these games do line up back to back to back. But I think the live streams have been extremely successful. If we just head over to our YouTube page, kind of just take a look at it. So it's our YouTube page here. You see we are live right now, which is awesome. If you go under videos, I'm starting to create these playlists, which are going to have the live shows in here and everything. But if you go to the live tab, you can see all of these games. Some of these dates need to be cleaned up a little bit, but you can see all the games that are on here. So if you, go through it, you can see we've had a ton of videos, but like even in the beginning, I mean, we're looking at 400 views on our first night, opening night with the live stream there. And we're getting pretty consistent, 251 views. I mean, we're getting pretty consistent views here. Some nights more than others, but we're getting some pretty consistent views of, 60, 70 views. So people are watching it. I think it's a huge success. And then all of these are going to come under a playlist here where you see Nerc live show. So that's how we're going to kind of organize it moving forward. We do have tons of these are old videos from COVID days when I was doing some training stuff. We have our weekly updates, everything like that. So you can find everything here. I think the live stream has been a hit. So looking for a legitimate sponsor for here. This is just my concrete coatings company that I work for. But I would love to get a sponsor in there. So if you know anybody who's looking to do a sponsorship, yours logo could be on here. You can make up whatever you want to put in this dead area right here. Devo with a huge home being able to add the scoreboard in there. So now you could actually kind of go back. And another cool thing that not a lot of people know is you can actually clip from here as well. So if you want to clip any scene or anything like that, you could use this to clip. You get to do that. That's pretty much it for this update. We'll be doing another one for the second round of playoffs. So all those teams that have buys, you'll be, kind of talked about more in their second rounds. But for these first rounds, looking really forward to this weekend of playoffs and the last couple of weeks of the Sunday season. And that is it for this episode. Thanks for watching. For those who are watching right now at 11:30 on Friday night, you're nuts. Looks like we have a couple people on. For everyone else, we'll be posting this up on the YouTube page, and come to YouTube and watch it.